And I'll look for a motion to adopt the agenda. And anybody want to make that motion? Okay, Councillor Gilroy?
I make the motion that we adopt the agenda with 2 extra items of business, 8.1 about an ACP grant, and 8.2 the terms of reference for the broadband.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody have any discussion on that? Seeing none, we'll use the icons to vote. All in favor? Waiting on Michael, I don't see.
No.
And Judy? You know what? Let's go with a show of hands instead, because that's probably this isn't working out as easy as it works. Okay, all in favor? All right, that's carried. Moving on then, we don't have a scheduled delegation, and from checking earlier, we do not have a public delegation joining us tonight. So we'll go down to the fire chief's report. Can I get a motion on this one? Go ahead, Councillor Stenhouse.
Council received the fire chief's December 2020 report for information.
Okay, thank you for that. And I'll turn it over to our fire chief to give us the highlights of his report and ask questions. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Basically, the only thing that I kind of wanted to highlight was over the December through Facebook, I noticed that there was fire lanterns making their way into the community. And through social media, we kind of addressed it, but just like to put it out there because it's not very common knowledge that fire lanterns are actually banned within the province and through most of Canada. So through social media, I think we've effectively advertised that, but the more we can get that out there, the better off. Lanterns are basically they're little trays that have fire in them, and they heat a balloon, and they float up into the air, and they wander off, and they go wherever that they land. So they've been banned again provincially. So just a little heads up on that. And outside of that, I submit my report. And if you guys have any questions, fire away.
Muted.
Brian, if you're talking, you're muted.
I'm muted, and I was saying to everybody, maybe mute your mic because I was getting some feedback. So sorry about that. Now I'll throw it open for any questions for the chief. Anybody with questions or comments for the chief? Okay. I see Councillor Gilroy with his hand up.
Well, I know our fire chief does a tremendously good job, and I want to thank him that he actually was available to come in because of the space restrictions on our worship facility. He was able to come over and restructure ours and give us new numbers so that we could be law-abiding. And I appreciate his follow-up on that because it's. I think it's important that all of us abide by the restrictions given to us. But secondly, is he getting more and more excited about his new fire truck coming?
Yes, an update, I guess, on that. I got an email beginning of the year, and projection is towards the end of January that we should see it. It's actually in Canada now. It arrived last Friday at the Red Deer facility, and they have to have it sent out for inspections and stuff like that for Canadian requirements. And Michael and myself will probably be doing kind of a day road trip down there just to have a physical look at the piece of equipment before it gets here.
Okay, any other questions for the chief? A comment from me. I was noticing in your report that your time is 7.9 minutes from time of dispatch to arriving. That's very good. Makes me. I think it should make residents feel pretty secure that they're getting a response that quickly.
Yeah, it was actually quite interesting, but again, that's an average, so we don't make every call at 7.9 minutes. Like, there might be some that are 2 minutes or whatever, and then there's some that are 15. I don't know, but it was curious, and I started tracking that data this beginning of last year. So just point of information.
Okay, thank you for your report. I don't see any other questions, so I will take it to a vote. All in favor of receiving his report for information? Okay.
I'm off to another Zoom meeting, so I'll be leaving. Thank you very much, and have a good evening.
Thank you for showing up for your report. Okay, moving on, we'll go down to our December 8th regular meeting minutes. Can I get a motion on these? Councillor Long? You're still muted.
There you go. Council approved the minutes from the December 8th, 2020 regular meeting as presented.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments about these meeting minutes? Okay, seeing none. All in favor? Okay, that is carried. Moving on to our December 15th meeting minutes. Can I get a motion on these ones? Okay, Councillor Janaka.
I make a motion that council approve the minutes from the December 15th, 2020 special meeting of council as presented.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on these minutes? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Moving on to one more set of minutes, the December 19th minutes. Can I get a motion on these ones? Councillor Danaka again.
I make a motion that council approve the minutes from the December 19th, 2020 special meeting of council as presented.
Any errors, omissions, comments on these ones? Seeing none, all in favor? It is carried. All right, moving on to item 6.1, letter to MLA Pat Rain. Get a motion on this one? Councillor Gilroy?
That council approved the letter drafted for MLA Pat Rain and direct administration to send letter and CC the Premier Jason Kenney.
Okay. Questions or comments on this? Go ahead, Councillor Gilroy.
I appreciate the hard work done on this letter and the spirit of the letter to recognize our authority as a municipality to determine what we believe is best for our people. I especially like the idea that as much as MLA Rain has apologized, we are going to basically encourage him that words do not mean anything, and especially words of apology do not mean anything unless there is actual action that follows. And so we're giving him a chance to not only come through and show that he is actually sorry for what's happened in the past, regardless whether for whatever reason it was, but I also look forward to seeing or giving the chance to our province to actually show that they want to regain the goodwill that I believe they may have lost so far up here. And so I look forward to seeing the UCP government basically fulfill their commitment to better service for our province and for the town of High Prairie.
Thank you. Councillor Stenhouse, did you have your hand up? I see a little hand on your screen. Is that a hand up? No? Okay. Thanks. Well, and I'll just add one little comment. I had a call from our MLA this afternoon saying that I know he's set up the meeting with the Minister of Health for Thursday, and he's now set up a meeting with MLA or Minister McIver for Friday. So, and I'll talk about that a little bit more at my report, but just to let you know that there has been a little bit more movement, and he's been doing some more stuff for our region. Okay, any other comments? Councillor Long?
Just want to clearly reiterate, but not necessarily duplicate the comments made. I had the opportunity to talk to Mr. Rain over the course of the last few days for a couple of times, and he has clearly stated that he's not going to step down, and so we have to take him at his word that he's going to try harder and that the province is listening, because we've been negotiating with them for years over the hospital and over the dialysis. So hopefully we can see some movement on that, and a show of good faith from the province would be nice. That's all.
All right, thank you. And Councillor Daneka.
With this letter, I really do hope that we get a response from Pat Wren. Like, I hope he just doesn't ignore it. I really want to get I want to hear what he has to say. I want to hear how he plans to rebuild the trust and the confidence that he's the MLA that is going to work for us. So I'm not holding my breath that we will get a response, but I'm hoping we will.
I think we can all agree on that. We're all optimistic we'll get something happening here. Okay, I don't see anybody else looking to make a comment, so I'll call this to a vote. All in favor of sending the letter? It is carried. So moving on then to our addendums, item 8.1.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, one quick question.
Okay.
Does that mean that we will go in the next day, and since our signatures are on the second page, we come in one at a time and sign off on this officially?
Yes, we have to get everybody in and get it signed, and so that's. Thanks for bringing that up. I don't know, is everybody able to get in the next day to sign that? Everybody, I know I could probably get in. Yep. And Donna, are you able to get in? I know that you're working during the day. It might be a challenge for you. We're all working, or most of us are working, but you've been a few times to run in.
Yeah, I can't get away. The only time I can sign it is after work at like 4:30 when I'm done. Unless somebody runs it over to West Fraser, I can sign it there.
Okay. So leave that with our CEO to make sure it all gets signed and we can go from there. Okay, good. All right. The next agenda item is our 8.1, the ACP grant. Can I get a motion on this one? Okay, Councillor Gilroy.
I have to apologize. I'm going to put my hand up for as much as possible to regain some time. So if I'm all over it, I'm all over it. So I'll make the motion that council support the participation in the intermunicipal flood mitigation and preparedness plan project and support Big Lakes County in the Alberta Community Partnership Grant Program application.
All right, we had a little bit of information in the request for a decision. I don't know, does there anybody have any questions about this before we vote on it? Do we need clarification? Councillor Gilroy?
I don't see in here anywhere where they need other than the us to give a letter of support. Is there any way at all that we will be required to supply any financial support to the county since it is an intermunicipal agreement or project here? So are we committing ourselves to any finances here that we're not expecting?
So, through your worship, if everybody can hear me, the intent is the application that's going is to fund the entire project. And so if we are successful, there should be, there'll be no costs. Obviously, if we're only partially accepted or something like that, then it would come back to us to determine whether we wanted to fund it. But the application itself is seeking 100% compensation. So the intent is no cost to us, maybe a few man hours, but no financial obligation.
Okay, any other questions on this? Seeing none, all in favor? It is carried. Now we'll move along to item 8.2, terms of reference for the Broadband Committee. Okay, I'll make a motion here for what I'll make a motion that council approve the terms of reference for the Broadband Committee. And perhaps I'll just turn it over to our CEO. He can give us a rundown on how we came up with these terms of reference and where we're at with that committee.
So, yeah, we put the terms together based on the original council motion that occurred on January 7th, whereby council approved the supporting of Canadian Fiber Optics to apply for the grant through the federal government for potentially getting broadband. We know that there's going to be some quick turnaround issues that we're going to have to deal with. Things like the whole marketing of the concept. I did speak to Canadian Fiber actually today, this afternoon, around 4:30. And their request was to actually have weekly meetings just to get direction on things such as maybe we'll do a bit of a plug here, so hopefully Chris in the other room can hear us, that we're going to be wanting to do some door knocking or getting some interest from the community in what their requirements are from a broadband perspective. So that's going to be happening really soon. Maybe even some champions to assist in promoting this initiative. And one of the big things that's going to be asked of the public fairly soon is letters of support, meaning when you submit a grant such as this, we know it's going to be oversubscribed substantially. One of the things that they will be looking at, the people that are reviewing the grant application, is how bad do the people want it, and what were some of the hardships that have been incurred by our residents because we haven't had no broadband that meets the requirements of the grant application. So in very short order, there's going to be some activity within the community on this, and we're going to be requiring some direction from council or the committee on how to proceed. But certainly the rest of the council we're seeking, as you are champions in this project, and you're still going to be included in some of the bigger decisions. But some of these smaller things are going to have to move extremely quickly. So I hope that gives a bit of an overview. Just to assure council that the bigger decisions with regards to dollars, if additional dollars are required, or how much broadband is put into the town, because we do know that the grant application, if successful, doesn't cover the entire area because of the requirements on the speeds of the people within the town. So we may only get a portion of. So decisions on how far we expand the broadband. So any dollars associated would come back to council. And plus, there was also part of the motion was to look at potential revenue sharing opportunities. So anything with regards to that before it's a done deal will proceed through council. So does that help?
Absolutely. No, that's a good summary. I'll throw it open if anybody's got questions about our terms of reference for this committee. All right, I don't see anything, any hands coming up. So, and I think the other thing that you mentioned, Rod, that I'll put out there is if anybody on council knows of or elsewhere, when I'm looking at the other people in the meeting, if you know of any people that have had some challenges due to not having broadband, to please share that so that we can get their stories and make sure that goes in with the application, because the more of those real life stories, I think it'll help our application along. So, Councillor Gilroy?
Along that same vein, I think we need to give the public a deadline to get these letters in if we're trying to get this done soon. Just because you made the announcement, I think we need to let them know when they need to write these letters.
Yeah, no, certainly we need to find out what their timelines are, and we know that I'm not sure if we're going to have a lot of letters in time for the January 15th deadline, but certainly for the February 15th deadline, we can have those. We're going to have to make sure that we have them in time, and we can chat with Canadian Fiber Optics to find out when those timelines are. Rod, were you able to determine a set meeting time with them?
It's looking like Mondays.
Okay, well, we'll leave that, and once it's nailed down, you can share when those meeting times are, and we can get started.
Monday's 4th.
Yeah, you went unmuted, and then you went mute. There you go.
So the meeting time is probably 95% set, and it's going to be Mondays at 4:30. So we know for sure the first one's going to be Monday 4:30. So 95% certain.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So mark that down. Okay, any other questions, comments on the terms of reference for the Broadband Committee? Seeing none, all in favor? Good, okay, that's carried. So moving on then to 9.1, the Little Smoky Recreation Area, the ski hill. Can I get a motion on this one? Councillor Stenhouse.
The council received a request for funding in the amount of $5,000 for the Little Smoky Recreational Area Ski Hill for information.
Okay, thank you. I know we've had this come to our council, every year. So just throw it open if there's any questions, comments on this one. Councillor Danaka?
My only comment is that I can't believe that we still paid them when we opted out. We still paid them in 2016 and 2017 when we opted out prior to that. I'm shocked by that.
Councillor Gilroy?
In light of us having to trim our own recreation area, I don't think we should be supporting a ski hill that somehow does not seem to be able to do any better. I mean, I'm looking at their losses for the last couple of years, and it's very scary. But the one thing I want to make sure is that, and if I would ask the intermunicipal committee on this one, to make sure that this is not part of our recreation agreement with them. This is a separate one, and I don't want to be somehow this be put in with our other recreation, because then we'd have to pay a lot more, and I'm against paying for this at all.
Well, I can speak on behalf of the intermunicipal that this is not in the intermunicipal in any way, shape, or form. It is not in there or in the recreation committee. So, yeah, it's a separate agenda item or a separate budget item if we want to contribute or not. Okay. Any other discussion on this one? Okay, I don't see any more, so we have a motion to receive for information. All in favor? Okay, that passes. Moving on then to item 9.2, the High Prairie Golf Club loan guarantee. Can I get a motion on this one, please? Councillor Gilroy.
The council give first reading to bylaw 03/2021, line of credit loan guarantee for the High Prairie District Golf Club. This 12th day of January 2021. I thought we had, we're finished. Didn't we have an update on the date we had to put on it though? Is this the correct date?
No, there wasn't.
It was March.
There was an amendment to this motion that basically we're amending lines from July 1st to March 1st.
Okay, so how does that?
Was the
how would
request.
that affect my motion then? Does it affect it at all?
Well, in our package, the agreement that's showing has an item number 7. It shows that it becomes effective July 1st. They need to move that back to March 1st so that they can have that money a little bit earlier. So that's the motion, is we're amending the July 1st start date is the request.
Okay. Okay, but that doesn't affect the motion then. That just affects the agreement.
Well, the administration has asked that the motion contain the change to show the new start date in the agreement.
Okay, so the council give first reading to bylaw 03/2021, line of credit loan guarantee for the High Prairie District Golf Club, effective March 1st, 2021, signed on this day, on the 12th day of January 2021. Is that what you want?
Yeah, that should work. We know that we're adjusting. Oh, I see Nancy shaking her head. She's not happy with that one.
I have the motion
the
here.
key. Oh,
We were given an amendment, and it says this is what the new motion should say. So whoever has this should be the one making the motion.
Okay, we all have a copy, but I'm going by what's on the package here.
okay,
I'm sorry,
perhaps.
Brian, you're right. So since I made the motion, I'll just change it. Stop smiling, Michael. I make mistakes too. The council give first reading to bylaw 03-2021, the line of credit loan guarantee bylaw, this 12th day of January 2021, with the amendment to item number 7, changing the effective date from July 1st, 2021 to March 1st, 2021.
I see Nancy nodding, so that's a good sign. All right. Okay. Any questions or comments on this particular motion? I know we've done this for the golf club for many years. I don't see any issues. I know they've always made sure that line of credit's been covered. We haven't had any issues. So, all right, we have a motion. All in favor? Michael, okay, thank you. That motion passes. Moving on then to item 10.1, and it's the mandatory face covering bylaw. Can I get a motion on that one? Well, perhaps before we get a motion, I'm just going to ask the CAO. I know that we had given this bylaw a couple of readings, and then in the recommended actions, there's 4 readings. I don't believe that we would need 4 readings. Can you clarify that?
I think what happened was we went back and we looked at things, and I think it was a motion to deal with it. Nancy, maybe you can assist me, and after going through it, go, gee whiz, we had to bring back the bylaw to actually officially make the changes within the bylaw. So, yeah, we probably should have done things differently a month ago. So we apologize. I know you're probably getting somewhat tired of seeing the mask bylaw, although maybe it's a good reminder for people to stay safe. So far, the bylaw has really only been in effect, I think, for 1 or 2 days because we hit the magic number, and shortly after the provincial regulations or guidance or directives came in and superseded our bylaw. But obviously, in the last couple of weeks, our numbers are not looking good at all, and so maybe it's just a little bit more airtime to for people to stay safe. And the sooner we can get through this, the sooner we can all start enjoying life and some of the things that we've been missing for a while. So apologize. We probably should have. We probably erred the last go around this came forward, and yeah, we're sorry.
Okay, so just so I'm clear, we made 2 readings of a previous bylaw, and we didn't finalize it, I'm assuming because we didn't have unanimous consent at that time. Is that what happened?
No, you have done all 3 readings for the bylaw. It was passed and in place. And then it was brought back to make the amendment for the 15 cases, 15 days. But it should have been brought back as a whole bylaw for the readings again. Not just asking if you guys approve it. You guys made a motion to approve the change. now it has to be officially done in 3 readings again.
Okay, so we'll start off with a motion here. We're getting a little sidetracked, but I was a little confused on it. So we'll start with motion number 1.
I make a motion that council give first reading to bylaw 04-2021, the mandatory face coverings bylaw, this 12th day of January 2021.
Okay, so now we'll open it up for questions. And I saw Councillor Gilroy had his hand up earlier, so now's the time to talk about this bylaw.
Okay. So my understanding here, Mr. CAO, is that this new bylaw will replace the previous bylaw. Is that, because I don't want to, when we go through the bylaw committee, I don't want to have like thousands of bylaws that are not repealed. So this is actually replacing the previous one. So we're not going to be looking at the previous one again. This is brand new and applicable now. Is that
That's
correct?
correct. That's correct.
Okay, and considering I saw the numbers today, and we're neck and neck with the city of Grand Prairie again, I think it's a timely thing that we deal with this.
Okay. Any other, I mean, we've talked about this before. It's doing what we had already, I guess, almost approved, but is there any other comments on it at this time? No. One of the things that I've noticed is that, over the last month that we've had mandatory face coverings in, it's people are getting more used to it in town. And more wearing it and less issues. And hopefully with the vaccine coming out and everything else, we're going to get through this a little bit quicker and we can get going. Just on a personal note, my daughter who works in the hospital just got her first shot of the vaccine yesterday. So it's rolling out there and it's starting to get out, at least to the healthcare workers, the frontline workers, and when it'll get to the rest of us, we'll have to wait and see, but it's stuck. Any other comments before we vote on first reading? I see none. All in favor? Judy? Opposed? All right, thank you. Can I get a motion for second reading here? Councillor Long? You're on mute still.
Council give the second reading to bylaw 04-2021, the mandatory face covering bylaw for the 12th of January 2021.
Okay, thank you. And we'll open it up once more. And Councillor Stenhouse, perhaps you can explain why you're voting against it at this time.
Oh, do you want an explanation why it's going against? I still haven't seen any concrete proof of how face coverings are decreasing in our numbers and how they are providing a barrier, but there may be some protection there. I just want to clarify that this bylaw will expire December 31st, 2021. Is that correct?
I'll throw it to our CFO, perhaps. Do you see the expiry date somewhere, Councillor Stenhouse? You can help us out. Is it in the bylaw?
Yes, it is on page 37. At the bottom of the page here, it says page 37.
Yeah. So that it says so. Yeah, it ceases to be in effect on December 31st, 2021. So, yeah.
Thank you for that. Okay. Does that answer your question? Councillor Gilroy?
I think that, though I'm not going to vote with Councillor Stenhouse on this, she has a valid point. One of the main problems I'm hearing from our constituents is that because AHS is not giving us a High Prairie number, and Big County so big, their concern is how much is actually in our town and our trading partners. And so it's becoming, I'm hearing quite a few people actually asking me, well, how many people are in High Prairie? And I know that you, Mr. Mayor, have tried to get numbers, and AHS will not do that. So I think Councillor Stenhouse has a legitimate concern when she says that she hasn't seen as much proof as she needs. So I just want to point out that as councillors, we're trying to balance both for the safety of our.
No, I agree. It's very frustrating not getting that more specific information. Well, that's all we can get at this point in time. Okay, go ahead, Councillor Gilroy.
I forgot to read in here. Does this include face shields? Because that's become a very popular thing now. I know people are buying the face shields, and I've seen them in some of the grocery stores, not necessarily here, but in the region. So that people can actually speak and see, but they believe that helps. Should we be looking at that as part of it as well, as another option, so people can protect themselves, but at the same time be able to breathe properly and all the rest of that stuff?
I believe I see your hand, Councillor Stenhouse, but I'll maybe put it over to our CAO to comment on the idea of shields versus masks.
Well, I think that is an option. I think everybody has that opportunity to do additional protective gear. I don't know of any other municipalities that have actually implemented the face shield. I know certain employers have in higher risk situations. So I think, even from the provincial side, right now in all their guidance, they are just with the masks, and when they have the shields, obviously that's in the healthcare areas. So just about everything that is out there in the public domain, as far as rules and regulations, are associated just with the masks. So, I mean, I think it would be a pretty big leap to go to that next piece. Do I encourage it as far as to assist in keeping people safe? I mean, the more people can do, the better. But I think going to the bylaw piece, we'd be a first, and I think it'd be, it caused some additional problems. So I think, at this point, I think administration would recommend against doing it.
Well, if we see people like that, though, Mr. Mayor.
I was just going to say, when I'm reading the bylaw, again, it talks about people shall wear face coverings at all times while indoor and enclosed. It doesn't say specifically masks. It says face coverings. So I believe that would cover shields also. And I think, once you get to the discretion and, of enforcing this, there wouldn't be any question that a shield would be acceptable along with it, in my mind. I would be surprised if our bylaw officer would want to enforce somebody because it wasn't a mask, but it was a face shield. Councillor Stenhouse had her hand up, so I'll throw it back over.
I just want to make a comment to Councillor Gilroy's statement that not to go there with the shields? Because now, are you going to start inspecting those masks to see if they're 1-ply, 2-ply, 3-ply? Just leave it as a face covering and that's it.
Okay, any other comments on this one? Seeing none, we have a motion for second reading. All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. All right, can we have a motion for unanimous? Councillor Gilroy.
This will be the most challenging one. For unanimous consent. And so, let me just get this. Okay. The council give unanimous consent to proceed to third and final reading of bylaw 04/2021, the mandatory face coverings bylaw, this 12th day of January 2021.
All right. Any comments on here? Seeing none, all in favor? Oh, it is carried.
Here you go.
All right. And one final motion on this bylaw. Anybody like to make it? I don't see any. I'll make a motion that, and I've moved off the page already, so give me a second, that council give third and final reading to the bylaw 04/2021, the mandatory face covering bylaw, this 12th day of January 2021. Last chance for any discussion on this topic. Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? It is carried. All right. Moving on then to item 13.1, our CAO's report and action list. Can I get a report on this agenda item?
That council received the CAO Rod Risling's report and action list for information.
Okay, thank you. I'll turn it over to our CAO to go over the highlights.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I mentioned the big stuff with regards to broadband on an earlier agenda item. The only things I think I'd like to communicate is that both the dog and business licenses were mailed, I think, earlier this week, and they are due at the end of the month. So it's just a bit of a reminder for people, but to check their mail. And the other piece with this is that we do have the doors closed to the town office. We do have a drop box that's there from 8:30 to 4:30 if you want to drop off payments, etc. As a side note, we certainly are encouraging everyone to maybe explore electronic options. Now it's a good time to look at paying some of the bills, etc. Via electronically, and all of our forms are on our website, and we certainly appreciate people using that form of payment. I think it does a couple things. First is it reduces travel time for people, reduces stamps and mail costs. Things like if you're even paying your taxes monthly, ensures that you're not going to be paying late. So I think there's a lot of benefits that people can enjoy and save time if they do things electronically, especially during these COVID times. Strongly encourage people to look at that. So I think those are the pieces I wanted to add, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. I'll open the floor for any questions or comments from our council. Councillor Stent. Go ahead. Couldn't hear you, Councillor Stenhouse. There you go.
For our CAO, for people switching to paying their bills electronically, can they switch back and forth? And why I'm asking that is it's not so much doing it electronically for the convenience, but people like to come out. It's kind of like a socializing when they come out to the post office or the town office. So what I'm asking is during the COVID period, if they switch to electronic payments, can they switch back to the old paper trail? Or are they stuck in e-transferring?
Through your worship, yes, people can change. Once they're on the monthly payment, though, that's something that's a little bit different. So on the property taxes, that's different. But everything else, absolutely, it can be changed. One of the things we are attempting to do as a corporation is to reduce costs. And so the more that we can move to the electronic world, it does save the municipality money, which in turn saves our taxpayers money. So I understand the social aspect of it. That does occur. Some people like to get out, and that's people's choice. But as a municipality, it's something that we're going to be pushing a little bit harder into the future because reducing that paper flow does reduce our overall costs. So, answer your question, yes, they can go on and go off. We strongly encourage, though, that people do move the electronic piece because at the end of the day, there are costs incurred, and that's taxpayers' money. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Gilroy.
Two quick questions for our CEO. One, knowing that we also have new business opening in town, and we've actually had two, technically, if you count Councillor Long's recommendation, the Cookham Shack was a good choice there. Have we actually had time to recognize all the new businesses that have occurred in the last little while, as well as are we up to date on all of those who over the last little while have put in new improvements? And I believe we were going to put them on our website, if I'm not mistaken. Is that something that we have done? The other question is, since we're going more and more toward our website, will we be able to, and I'm not saying tomorrow, but will we be able to go through our website and see areas, especially areas of investment and things such as our strategic plan? They're all up to date on the website. If not, can we plan a future meeting to update some of these things so we can have as up-to-date website as possible?
Okay, so your first, through your worship, your first question, I think the last time we did a congratulatory welcome wagon development session was, I think, the end of November or first part of December, and so we got caught up then. Those that have opened up probably in the last 45 days-ish, my guess, has not occurred. As far as the being on the website, I'm going to have to look to Nancy. I'm not sure if we actually are posting that. We'll have to look at it, but if that's within the policy, we will do that if it's not done already. And your second whole question, yes, the website, we absolutely could use a little bit of support in doing that. I mean, pretty interesting. I got an email a couple days ago from a student that's looking for some practicum experience, and I called him back today, but we haven't been able to touch base. But one of the things that they specifically mentioned was our website, and so I'm encouraged because to do some of that stuff requires some additional horsepower, and so keep your fingers crossed. Maybe we can get some student help in that. But I completely agree with you. There's a lot of things that we can do with the website. It's just a matter of priorities. So I'm not going to promise you it's for sure get done, maybe keep your fingers crossed. This student comes on board. Maybe we'll get some stuff done sooner rather than later. Hope that's the best I can do.
Just to follow up on that question about the new businesses, and I'm trying to remember back to our policy that we made on that, and maybe one of the other councillors remembers, but I thought it was if they actually held a grand opening, because there are some companies that have opened but haven't necessarily held a, quote, grand opening. So I'm wondering if that's what needs to be done, or if we're just recognizing every business that comes to town. I see Councillor Danak has got her hand.
I believe the policy says when they have a grand opening, but many companies or businesses don't have a grand opening. So I'm not sure if that bylaw needs to be amended that just says new businesses opening, or if there's a clause in there that defines that.
Thank you. Councillor Gill.
The reason I was suggesting this is during COVID, it's very hard to have an official opening, as we found it with Northern Lakes College, where they're having a hard time doing their official opening because of that. But when we look at the couple businesses that are already up and running, it would be nice to recognize them early, because we're not sure when they'll be able to have an official opening. So it's just keeping up on and encouraging those businesses. So I'm going to suggest we sort of make a COVID type change on that, if I can, that just for now, that we recognize those businesses, and then because we don't know when they're going to have their official opening, and I'd hate to see it 6 months or 9 months down the road when they've been in business for so long. I want the town to be up as one of the first cheerleaders.
Okay. No, I wouldn't disagree with that.
So I think
our policy too. Okay, go ahead, sorry.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. Administration will proceed faster. We can do that. And I think, Mayor, if I heard you correctly, maybe I'm just regurgitating what you said. I'm not sure, but I think there is a need to probably bring that policy back to council. I know when I read it before, it is a little gray in some of the areas, and even things like the gift. Maybe we want to consider some type of a plaque or something else. So I think what administration will do is in the near future here bring that to the bylaw committee and or the policy and bylaw committee and hammer it out a little bit and bring it forward to council within the next. In the near future.
Decade?
I'll leave it at that.
Decade?
All right. Any other questions for a CAO? I had a couple, and the first one I was just wondering, before Christmas we'd asked if there was any more update from transportation about those lights at the Schmitty's, and I'm just wondering if we've heard anything from transportation, because we're still struggling with those lights. I've heard people complaining to me, they're still complaining, so just wondering if there's an update.
So I know Vern's in the building. I'm trying to contact him. All I know is that I'm still receiving calls from residents on it, and I'm hoping you heard me. Maybe you didn't. If you can give me 10 seconds, I can check with Vern. Or I can.
Vern is. I can see it. Masked face already, so I'll see if Vern can.
Vern, come, Vern.
I am here. We had contact with them in Peace River. They're supposed to have a crew here this week. That's what they told us. So I know there was a citizen that called me too, and he also got the same story from the guy in Peace River. So if there isn't anybody here this week, we'll be on them again next week.
Okay, thank you. Because people have. It's been ongoing concerns, and I get regular complaints about that. The other question that I had for you was, I know. I'm wondering about that emergency response training and what are the issues if not all of council is up to date, or maybe everybody's done it. I just wanted to know if there are any ramifications for us now that we're at that point.
Well, I'm hoping everybody took the training. If not, better do it as soon as possible. I can tell you that we have contacted our EOC people, and their availability to they wanted to meet with council is the week of, not next week, I think it's the following week. I can't remember their emails, so I know we're going to be setting up a meeting with the EOC committee to go through a few things. So I'm just hoping everybody is taking the course, or is taking it very, very soon, because it is a requirement. And I'll leave it at that. It's a requirement to take the course.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Questions for our CAO? Seeing none, we had a motion to receive for information. All in favor? That is carried. All right. Moving on then to our councillor reports. We'll start with Councillor Danak.
I have no report other than everybody attended all the same meetings that I attended.
Okay.
I move my verbal report for information.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. We'll move on to Councillor Gilroy.
I agree with Councillor Danak. We've done a lot of the same meetings. I had an Aboriginal interagency meeting, and they're trying to figure out what to do with the powwow because it's coming up. They're thinking of doing a virtual one possibly because of the numbers that would be needed. So we're still working through that. As well, I have a watershed meeting coming up on Thursday, and I wanted to say a thank you to Councillor Stenhouse for actually showing me that our council works. She had seen something and she phoned Megan at the watershed, and Megan got back to her, and I'm glad to see that the councillors are using this right now. As you know, with the other ones, I've been getting updates from the Peace Library system, and so the library is still trying to operate on a phone ahead and order your books and things like that. A lot of the stuff I heard today at Aboriginal from the library people there as well is that if people have got library cards, they can do more access to more of the online programming and that. So I would encourage people that, especially now, if you don't have a library card or library membership, which is virtually, it's very inexpensive, and depending on what category you're in, it may even be free, depending on your age. Phone the library and try to get that card so you can have full access to all of the stuff that we have now, so that we're making the most use of our library. And so I'll move my verbal report for information.
Okay, any questions or comments for Councillor Gilroy? Seeing none, he moved his report. All in favor? It's carried. Moving on then to Councillor Long.
Again, attended most of the meetings that everyone did, so nothing new there. But I did have a young concerned citizen, Bryson Dallaire, and he is willing to get involved and do some of the fundraising and organizing and volunteering to get an outdoor skating rink built in JC Park. He thinks that would be a great thing to do. And so I mentioned to him that I will pass that forward to everybody and see what can be done with that. But he was really excited, really eager, and I really encouraged him to keep going, because that's his start in. Once he gets that, then it's addictive. You just keep on volunteering. So, anyways, I'm glad he did. So hopefully we can make something come to fruition. And then I move my verbal report for information.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Councillor Long? All right, seeing none, he moved his report for information. All in favor? It is carried. Okay, moving on then to my report. I have had some Heart River housing meetings, and just to get everybody up to speed on what's happening there, we do all of the designing of the building and the wish list, and just before Christmas they came back to us with the price tag on what we had designed. Unfortunately, our wish list was a little bit more than our budget, so now we've gone back to the drawing board, and we're trying to find out what we can reduce and cut out to get within our budget dollars. So that's where we're at right now. We were, roughly $700,000 over. And we didn't think we were that far over, but once it was all priced out and came back, it was like, okay, we need to make some changes. And so we're going through that process now, and hopefully within the next week or two we can have that the building more or less finalized, where we have the layout that we want and the price point that we want, and then after that it's locked in with the Stuart Olson, the contractor, and it'll go from there, and we wouldn't have any more changeovers because we've been going through this design build process. So that's from Heart River Housing. And then I mentioned earlier that I got a phone call this afternoon, and it's from MLA Rain, and he was saying he's lined up a meeting with Minister McIver, and the meeting is for, I'm going to say the Reeves, or the mayors, and the other main elected officials, the chiefs in the region, and just for them to meet with him on Friday. So I wanted to find out if there was any agenda items for Minister McIver, and he's, as you guys know, is covering two portfolios, both municipal affairs and transportation. So I'll throw it over if anybody's got ideas on what we should be bringing up with them. I know once you open that up to all of our region, there's going to be lots of topics, and I don't know how much time we have, but if I can get the list, then I'll make sure our issues are heard. Councillor Gilroy?
I'd like the privilege of having the council here have a day or so to think about this before Friday. We're going to be meeting on Thursday for another meeting. If we can send you our questions, I think that would be a little better than us suddenly trying to figure it out right now.
Oh, absolutely. Anybody can send me their thoughts at any time by email or text, of course. But I'm throwing it open if you have a great idea now and you just want to do it verbally versus writing it out later. But if something comes to mind later, by all means.
make sure the reclamation of the hospital and the teardown of the hospital is a discussion. That's my only concern, really.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and again, it's probably not the right ministry, but we'll just keep bringing it up because it's going to be on the finance committee, and these same ministers are likely on the finance committee. So if they're hearing it from different ministers, it might get approved. So, yeah. Councillor Gilroy.
I think Vern's brought it up a couple times about when would our actual roads in our town actually be redone. That would be kind of nice, since in the past they've gone to one entrance, bypassed us, gone to another entrance. So if we can look at the possibility of when they'd be able to repave our roads and how we could work with getting those the sidewalks and everything else that goes with it all in one big package.
Okay, yeah, and we have brought that up before, and they've given us a firm, we're not quite there yet with dollar-wise, but like you say, keep bringing it up as something that needs to be done. Keep it on the radar. Okay, I don't see any other comments, so with that, I'm going to, I just want to remind everybody of, and maybe I should just ask Garcia, have you heard back anything about our meeting with the Minister of Health on Thursday?
Your Worship, no. Sent the email on Sunday, I think, and I haven't received anything as of right now. Nothing.
Okay, no, I was just wondering if there was any developments there, but as it stands, we'll all be on Thursday. Good. Okay. With that, I'll move my report for information. All in favor? Okay, carried. Moving on then to Councillor Courtley.
No report.
Not okay. And last but not least, Councillor Stenhouse shaking her head. I'm assuming no report.
No report. Everyone has said everything.
Yeah, we've been in a lot of the same meetings in the last few weeks here. Okay. With all of that, let's take a break, and then we'll move into our closed session. So we'll take we'll go for 10 minutes, come back at, it's at 8:42, so at about 8:52 or 8:55, and we'll resume.